I just want to say before this podcast episode, thank you to random person in Belgium for listening in, and hope we continue to see you listening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Beck Lions and Aiden Shoemaker podcast, guest starring Uri and also featuring Nicola Christic. How are you guys doing today on this 57 degrees Fahrenheit day?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing pretty good.
Why does Nicola get his last name?
Also, Aiden got a last name.
And you did too.
I did not get out.
Why am I the only one that did get a last name?
I
Wow.
don't know. Why is it?
Okay, so as usual, now that we're back in the groove of things, this is our second episode, and so I think we can just start off with what we're watching in general. So, let's start with you, Beck.
I am watching Cowboy Bebop primarily, and I think it's good. Aiden recommended it last podcast, and I pulled it from my watch list, and I started watching it, and I'm pretty into it.
It is a very good anime.
Yeah, I'm on episode 9.
Are you watching it with English subtitles or with English dub?
Why does everyone hate on me for going dub?
No. The Cowboy Bebop one is one of the better dubs.
Alright, cool, because I always watch in dub, and everyone always hates me for it.
Do you guys remember the Squid Game dub?
Oh, that one
No.
was trash.
It just was not good at all.
Welcome to the Squid Game.
This is where the game where we get squiddy and we say it's time to squid and they squid all over the place.
So, Aiden, what are you watching?
Watching The Owl House. That's a pretty good show.
That is definitely a show.
Nicola, have you watched it?
I have not
Don't
watched
judge it
yet,
without watching it.
but I've heard it's definitely one of the shows of all time.
Up there with Seinfeld, and
So, what do you like about the show?
it's a well-written, good show.
And it's on Disney Channel?
Yeah, it's on
Unlike
Disney,
Disney
Plus for
Plus.
you to watch for, I don't know what the subscription is for Disney Plus, for $8 a month or something. But the season 3 premiere is on YouTube, so you
Oh,
can
yeah.
go watch season 3 on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay,
I got a funny
so-
story about that later.
Okay, so Nicola, what are you watching?
Me personally, I've been watching animations, right? The most recent animation I've watched is
I think your mic cut out.
yeah, I haven't really watched anything recently.
Wow.
That's okay.
Um,
I mean, for being on the
Yeah,
film and
I just
TV
haven't really
show
had the time
podcast, you kind of
recently.
need to watch things, I'll be honest.
We literally
Yeah.
Time is a hard
I would
concept
say
to-
right now for what I'm watching this TV show called Get Shorty, and it's about a TV show about these two I guess they're hitmen for the cartel, but they want to make a movie in Hollywood, and they're gonna use the movie as a way to launder
sounds
money
like a
for the
hilarious
cartel.
concept.
And they go to Hollywood and they start making a movie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And
it was a film from 1995
that's the
starring
movie.
John
There's
Travolta.
a TV show. That's just the movie.
It's got John Travolta.
That's the movie.
And Danny DeVito.
It is one of the
Must
TV
be a good
shows of
movie
all
then.
time.
I'm talking about the TV show. I feel like that was a meme from a long time ago. I don't feel like that's applicable anymore.
No, it's a Morbius meme, I think.
Isn't Morbius kind of a long time ago?
Feels like a year
No,
ago. and I
Morbius was
wish
like
it
a month
was.
ago.
Did any of you guys ever see Morbius?
No, I never actually
No,
watched
I
Morbius.
I don't think anyone.
Well, I watched
Morbius,
a pirated
in the
Twitch
world.
stream, so.
Oh yeah, they streamed the movie I think in full twice, and then they got
Yeah.
struck by copyright.
Actually, you know what?
What? What, Nicola?
Let me send.
You're
it
gonna
to
send a
General
gif
real
of the
quickly.
entire thing of Morbius.
You're gonna send it to General.
He's gonna send the movie.
I'm gonna send the entire movie into General really quick.
Yeah.
Let's watch it right now.
we could.
I do. Yeah, I also have a link for the movie. Wow, it's the whole 97 minutes of.
Oh wait,
the
this is
Morbius
actually. I
movie.
thought it was gonna be one of the sped up gifs.
It is actually the entire
Oh my
movie.
god!
I'm not even
it
kidding.
is.
It
Wait,
is genuinely just
dude,
the
how
entire
has
movie.
video compression gotten this
Be
good?
right back, everyone, on the podcast.
Yeah, one second. We
will
gotta
be
quickly
watching
pause the podcast
Morbius
so we can
movie.
watch it.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I think we gotta get to the main agenda of what we want to talk about. And you guys talked about you guys are like animated
Yes.
diehards. So
Not
can we
Die-
talk?
That's a good movie, but I'm not a
I'm
diehard.
talking about not Morbius animated movies.
Oh, I thought I'm okay.
So what do you guys both like it. So talk about animation. What you love about it.
I touched on it last podcast, on our first podcast, that it's a better medium of showing things and can display better, just things better. Like if you're watching your Marvel movie Iron Man 4, whenever that inevitably comes out, starring Robert Downey Jr.'s second cousin, like they'll have their CGI fight at the end of the movie, entirely in CGI, and it's gonna look terrible. But then, like, you watch What If, and they have these like way cooler fight scenes that don't look as bad because they're not in CGI clashing with the real world.
I agree with that point. I mean, like, a ton of like CGI is like animated, and like people are like, I don't like watching animation, but you just watch like 20 Marvel movies where like 30% of it is in CGI.
30% is a very low
That was
number.
probably...
Yeah, no. It is kind of annoying how saturated the market has become with CGI.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's good when it's used sparsely, but then people just try to shoehorn it in for re-releases and more money. Like George Lucas, like when he released all the Star Wars movies like 18 times.
Speaking of that, are you guys watching Andor?
No.
I'm not. I need to watch
Oh my
a
god,
bunch
it
of
was
Star
so
Wars
funny
stuff.
because I literally had this friend who was watching Andor, and I'm like, oh, it's the dude from Rogue One, and they were like, oh, that's where I remember him from. Like, Rogue One was such a forgettable movie, like, no one remembered him.
Because he died in Rogue One, I think. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, everyone dies in Rogue One. Sorry, guys, for the movie that came out in like 2014. Hold on. It came out in 2016. Sorry. A whole 6 years ago.
Nicola, what are your thoughts on this?
Andor, I have not watched it yet, but yeah, everybody did die at the end of Rogue One. It was kind of an interesting ending and an interesting movie. It definitely failed in some aspects, but I think it wasn't a bad movie compared to some of the other movies I've seen.
Compared to other Star Wars movies, I think it was kind of flat in the middle of quality. Like, it's definitely not on the episode 6, episode 5 kind of scale, but it's definitely not on the episode 2 or Solo end of the scale. It's kind of just like next to Phantom Menace.
Really? I really liked Rogue One. I thought it was like one of the best Star Wars movies in like a few years, way better than any of like the sequel trilogy.
Well, that's true. Yeah, the sequel trilogy is not good.
All right, my take on Rogue One is if you were to take out the first 2/3 and only include the battle and after the battle and like release it as a short film, it would be like really highly critic score.
True. If I didn't have to watch the movie, then it would be a good movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like if they took Jar Jar out of the couple movies, it would have been better.
I would like to say Jar Jar is kind of an enigma of a character because I feel like even without the Jar Jar, I think it's still not that great of a movie.
Yeah, it's pretty confusing.
I mean, like, they're not bad. They're better than like Force Awakens and Last Jedi and stuff.
I mean, a lot of people don't like the prequels because of the politics, but honestly, I think that's the best part of it.
I did forget about it being entirely politics.
I am the Senate.
I honestly like that because, I mean, if you think about it, Star Wars has always been about politics.
You're right. And the Republican Party.
The first 3 movies were about, well, like guerrilla warfare and stuff, and like a group of rebels taking on an organized military.
But back to the main thing. No, I think Rogue One, I enjoyed Rogue One. I thought it had a good story. And I like how it elaborated.
I think that's why no one liked it, because no one really cared about the battle.
I thought it was pretty like cool, like seeing how like the guerrilla warfare on the planet worked, and the smart tactics they used.
Yeah, I think it's way better than Solo.
Yeah, but that one has Donald Glover in it, so.
So does Community.
Yeah.
Have you seen Community, guys?
I've not watched Community. I do want to watch Community.
Community.
What is Community on? What is it streaming on?
I think Netflix.
On Netflix.
I think?
I have Netflix. What's your guys' opinions on Netflix with ads now? think they've started
It
that.
doesn't have. Does it have?
I'm not.
Oh, have they implemented that already? I haven't seen it
I don't know
yet.
when it starts.
But I think that would definitely ruin it a lot. Because one of the reasons I like Netflix is because it doesn't have ads.
No, but I can see how that could be helpful because everyone's saying I don't want to pay for Netflix anymore. It's too many crap shows and not enough. And if you do an ad version that's less money, then you can still have it. It's a good reason to have it, but now you don't have to pay so much.
I think that if they add ads, then why wouldn't they just go YouTube's right and just make it free and get the revenue from the ads?
They spend like way more money on making content than YouTube does. Like YouTube doesn't pay anyone to make content, and Netflix pays like billions of dollars for content.
Okay, hold on. CNN is saying that Netflix said current plans and members will not be impacted, and that basic with ads complement our existing ad-free basic, standard, and premium plans.
All right, the problem with ads on like Netflix is most of the time when you like go on Netflix, you're like kind of just looking for like a show to watch in the background, or at least that's kind of what I do. And I was trying to watch Lost, you know, the one with the island, on like Amazon Prime, and the only version they had was with ads, and I hated it so much because I was just trying to do random stuff, and every like 10 minutes I would get like a minute of ads, and it would be like, yo, medicine for grandmas, here it is.
Well, like I understand ads in some contexts, like to make money, but like there's not if it's only with ads, then there's no other option to like pay for it to get rid of ads. Then why even have ads?
Yeah, that's like whenever I watch like Hulu, I feel like half the time it has more ads than it actually has content.
That's why they kind of with Hulu I hate the fact that I pay for it, but I still have ads.
Oh yeah, I have the thing with Peacock where like there's like an ad
Can
plan.
I use your Peacock account? Can I pay for half of it so I can watch things on Peacock without having to pay for a full subscription?
No, we get like a thing with our cable where we get Peacock with ads for free.
What's on Peacock?
But I can send you the thing.
The Office. And
yeah, the only good thing is The Office.
Is Parks and Rec on there as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I need to watch.
If you use an ad blocker on PC, you can bypass it.
I have a MacBook. That's kind of like a PC.
Just use uBlock Origin.
Back to streaming services. You know what's a really good streaming service? Amazon Prime. I love it.
Are you sure?
You may think just because it has some really good shows. Other than like just the main biggies of like Invincible, The Boys, and anime, it has other good stuff outside of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we talking about exclusive content or the streaming service itself?
Just like the content. I don't really.
Okay, because if we're talking about like streaming service itself, it has a terrible interface.
Terrible interface, but I'm just talking
about I don't like the interface.
It has a terrible interface.
The content is good. I'm watching. You guys seen Psych?
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Psych is really good, and it's all 8 seasons are on Prime.
What's it about?
It's like about a dude who's like really perceptive of stuff. Like he can notice like slight scratches in a wall, and he's like a detective. But he's
isn't he like faking?
Yeah, but he's like he's pretending to be a psychic, but he's actually really good at solving crime.
He just accidentally oopsies every crime and figures it out.
No. He solves it using skill, but he has to act like he solved it using psychic stuff.
Oh. He's like, yes, I actually predicted the future.
Yeah,
he just found it on the floor.
Yeah. I love how off topic we went. We went from animation to Star Wars to streaming services.
And Nicola hasn't said a thing.
He's become the new me.
So Nicola, what TV shows are you kind of passionate about? What's your favorite TV shows?
Favorite TV show? Definitely one of my favorite TV shows has to be The Boys. I also really liked Brooklyn Nine-Nine while that was still going on.
Oh, that's good.
Very sad when it ended.
I didn't like how it ended.
That one has
I think they could have done the ending a little bit better. But my favorite character is by far Cheddar. Best character by far.
I think shows really stick their landing like if they have a good ending, then they're really going to stay with you for a while. But if you have if you have a crapshoot of an ending, then it's kind of like, well, the show's just is left on a sour note, and now you're sad about it.
People forget about those shows.
But it's not like a good sad where you're like, oh man, the show's over forever now. You're like, ew.
Yeah, it's more like people just also forget about the show as well, because like people still talk about like Breaking Bad had a really good ending, and people still talk about that today. While like Game of Thrones had one of the worst endings, and like nobody speaks about it anymore. Though House of the Dragons is kind of redeeming itself.
Yeah.
But I think that's mostly because it actually is going off of the source material, and most of the problems came once they got off of source material.
Was Game of Thrones a book
Game
or
of Thrones
anything?
was a book. It's a book series, and people are getting really pissed at the author because he could never finish the last 2 books, and that's why they kind of had to go off text to finish the show.
Do what they did with Full Metal Alchemist, and then just make Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Full Metal Alchemist?
So it's an anime. I haven't seen it, but there's 2 versions of the anime. There's Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. What they did was when they were making the anime, they were making it alongside the manga releases. And when the author, when they caught up to the manga, and the author wasn't making enough, they just wrote their own story.
And it was bad?
And I mean, it was their own story. And so they made Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood when the manga kept getting published to follow the actual story. So now there's 2 different versions, one that follows the manga and then one that's completely made up.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that thing. If Game of Thrones did that, if the books eventually do come out, maybe it would like redeem itself, but I don't know. It's kind of like I feel like that ship has kind of sailed.
It would be great if they just like remade the seasons that they did going off their own thing, and then just like replace them.
That's not really beneficial, with, I guess.
It's not beneficial, but it would be good.
I would say something about Game of Thrones is I don't think anybody really cares about the Game of Thrones. I think now people are more interested in like spin-offs of Game of Thrones, histories of Game of Thrones, rather than the actual story. Like House of the Dragon is very popular, and they're playing more like historical spin-offs, and yeah.
Is House of the Dragon also a book?
Yeah, it's based on the book Fire and Blood, which is kind of like a history book from like 2 perspectives there. So it's not like an actual story. It's more like a history book, and so the writers kind of have to interpret it their own way as well. But it's still better because they have some more stuff to go off of.
Which I think is better than the way the Game of Thrones writers did it, because now they can incorporate text but also have their own way, while Game of Thrones kind of had to struggle with that.
Alt Shift X on YouTube has some really good videos on House of the Dragons.
I love his videos.
He has such good documentaries and stuff, and like video essays.
Video essays are great. I think one of my favorite video essays is the one from Defunct Land about fast passes. That one has.
Oh, I watched that one.
That one has one of the best twists in a YouTube video I've ever seen. That's actually just a movie documentary.
Yeah, it is.
Can you go ahead and tell the audience what that twist is?
I'm not going to tell the audience what the twist is.
Spoiler alert.
I'm not going to spoil the epic video.
Wait,
go watch it for yourself.
Think I literally have a playlist in my YouTube of like best video essays I've seen. And I think my favorite is probably this one about like this 10-year long journey that people went on to try to find a secret in a video game. Like, these group of people spent, like, 10 years on, like, GameFAQs forums, like scouring the architecture of this PS2 game to, like, try to figure out, like, the last secret that the creator hid in it.
What game is it?
It's Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, I've heard that's a good game. Is that the one where you go fight the big thing?
Yeah, I'll send the video in general. Alright, so I want to bring us back to our main topic, animation, because I got a really funny story. So, like, I think, like, last Monday, Aiden, like, walked into class and was like, came up to me and was like, I'm gonna start watching The Owl House. And then he did, and I'm like, yo, I love that show. And then we cut to today. We're sitting in class, and he gets to my favorite episode, Knock Knock Knocking on Hootie's Door. And then we started watching it in class. And then at the end, he was like, "Oh, have you seen the first episode of season 3?" And at that point, my mind immediately starts racing. I check YouTube, and there's a 43-minute video post on the channel, which is the first episode of season 3. And then I popped off so hard because this is like my favorite show, and I have a very complicated history of missing the like premieres of it. So I got into it between season 1 and 2 because I watched a video recommending it to me, and then this is kind of really dumb of me. I got to the last episode before the finale, and I was like, "Oh, there's a to be continued. I guess next season we're figuring it out." And then I felt so stupid when I realized, oh, there's another episode of season 1. So I watched that, and then 6 months later, I get back from a 13-day backpacking trip. I check my phone. Oh my god, the first half of season 2 has come out, and I watch it. But and then like, oh, I'm like 10 episodes, good ending. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait for season 3. 6 months later, I watched a random YouTube video that shows a clip from the second half of season 2. And I'm like, I've never seen this clip before. I've memorized every frame of this show. I checked Disney Plus, and this is like at 11 p.m. at night. And I'm like, oh my god, the second half of season 2 has come out. So I watched like 7 episodes of that, and then I watched the last 3 on cable TV because I recorded them live. Because that's how invested I am in that.
There's not many premieres that I've seen of shows. I think I saw the season finale of Adventure Time live, and I watched, I think, all season 2, 3, and 4 of Infinity Train when they came out.
Yeah, I only watched Infinity Train post-mortem, and I saw Better Call Saul finale live, but I didn't get to the funny part of the story. So Aiden tells me that season 3 is coming out. I'm like, bruh, I just missed the season 3 premiere, and this is like it came out 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, dude, I'm mad, and I have a math test the next period, so for the next 15-minute passing period, I'm like panicking. And I'm like pacing back and forth because I really want to watch this. So my plan is I take 45 minutes of the test period, do the test, and then I turn it in halfway done, and then I watch the episode. So
that
I kind of
just so many layers of bad like student and like planning and that's just such a bad idea.
Yeah, and then I actually do it. I turn the test in 40 minutes before it's done, and then I just sit there, and the episode is so good. I mean, it's perfection. Because they had to turn they plan to do like seasons 1 and 2 are 20 episodes. Season 3 is going to be 3 episodes. So they're condensing like 20 episodes into 3. So they're all going to be like so good. And episode 1 is so good.
I was expecting you to say, you turned in your test, it was halfway done, you were 40 minutes early, the teacher looked at it and said, go back to your seat and finish it.
No, I would have been devastated.
I often finish my tests before like halfway mark.
Yeah, I always finish really early.
I mean, I got all of them. I felt confident about like all but 3 questions. But I also
like last year I had so many issues where I just never had enough time to finish, but this year I don't know why. This year feels easier than last year.
Yeah, I laid down in math, so I went to an easier math class, and I've been like chilling.
Yeah, I laid down from Beck's laying down class.
And I'm just in that one.
I want to say something about animation that I didn't get to talk about. So I want to ask you a question. Who here has seen an episode of Family Guy, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, Simpsons? Who has seen an episode?
I've seen a terrible esports episode of The Simpsons.
I love Bob's Burger. My whole family loves Bob's Burgers. And Family Guy is really bad, but it's funny when you watch it on YouTube in segmented clips.
Now, how many of you guys watch those shows consistently?
I watch Bob Burger every time it comes out.
And the other 2 guys?
Yeah, only thing I really consistently watched. I don't know. I never really consistently watched those shows. Only thing I guess you could say is The Simpsons. I kind of watched like every. I always watched all the Halloween episodes with my friends every Halloween because they would always post a
Treehouse
new
of
one
Horror
every
is
time.
great. That's a very good.
Yeah, we did. We were gonna watch that one, but we decided on doing the Family Guy one. It was not as
Of
good.
course, it's not
It
as
was just
good.
not
It's
good.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
And so Beck,
I think in total I've only seen 3 episodes of The Simpsons. I saw the esports episode because that was when Disney Plus first came out, and I wanted to pick a random episode of The Simpsons to watch. And then I watched Homer's Enemy because I watched a 40-minute video essay on that, which is longer than the actual episode. And then I watched the Death Note parody on YouTube, and the Death Note parody wasn't even that good.
What?
I mean,
The
like,
Death Note parody was great. The animation was great.
the animation was good, but like, the whole plot of Death Note is just seeing about how these two really smart guys try to outsmart each other. But like, there's like none of that in the
Because
parody.
they had like what? Like
they had they had like 13 minutes to do it, but yeah, okay. I'll say for the 13 minutes they had, they tried to make people who hadn't seen Death Note understand the concept, kinda.
and so I want to say, you guys probably, since you have a limited perspective of these shows, because some of you watch just one show every time, some of you don't watch another show. You guys kind of have a perspective of these shows. Is that correct?
yes.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that.
And you could say that do you guys think some of these shows, I'm not saying like Bob's Burgers or anything, but like you could say maybe Simpsons or Family Guy, they're kind of out of their prime.
Oh,
Definitely.
100%. They are definitely. They're getting to the point where they're just kind of burnt out. And you can really feel that they're just out of ideas. You can look
Yeah,
at like because like
Simpson is
once
just-
show I realize once shows get past like I think like there's definitely a couple seasons mark. There's definitely a clear mark in like every show where they pass like I don't know like the 7th season or like the 6th season mark, and then just you can see that it just starts to go downhill because they just start running out of ideas and they just don't know what to do.
Yeah, they're kind of kept alive more as like a mascot than as like.
And that's why I
good
honestly think
shows.
that's kind of also where the bad endings come from, because like if they would have just decided, you know what, we really have nothing else we can come up with, we can just end it here. I think they could have come up with like a really good ending, and then it just like had a good finale that everybody remembers, and they just remember the show fondly instead of trying to extend it out until everybody just doesn't like it anymore and they just decide to end it there.
So what if I were to tell you guys that they're not totally out of their prime yet? Now, I would say, I've seen every episode of every single one of these shows. And I would say that actually now, in this latest season of Simpsons, the last few seasons, they're kind of starting a new renaissance. And they're kind of starting some new episode ideas that are kind of getting back to their heyday. And they're trying to reinvent.
I might watch a few. Recommend me some good ones.
This is the highlight of an episode, I would say, that I have seen recently. So, it's an episode where we think it's just going to be a regular Simpsons episode, and they're doing some stuff, but then some hackers hack the show. And they say, we're going to show these show-ruining Simpsons clips that, like, totally ruin the canon of the show. Kind of symbolizing, remember The Prince and the Pauper, where it turned out Principal Skinner was actually not Principal Skinner?
I do remember that episode.
And so they're being self-aware by having those types of clips because they actually did that in the show. And in some of these showing clips that they made specifically for this episode, they include real clips that fans didn't like in sort of a meta commentary that The Simpsons kind of know that people don't really like them and have a limited perspective of them. But these people that say they think they're past their prime, they haven't seen these last seasons. They don't watch the show continually. So how do they know that it's a bad show? That's just an idea.
Yeah, it sounds pretty smart.
Yeah, about the meta commentary part you were discussing, I think meta commentary can sometimes be good, but a lot of times doesn't really turn out well. Well, no, because some shows heavily rely on meta commentary, like Rick and Morty, for example, and that's a very, very popular show.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Although it's very annoying when they use meta commentary. They're like, "What the blizz, Morty? We're not gonna do a epic quest episode." And then they do an epic quest episode, and they're like, "Wow, we just did an epic quest episode. Wasn't that wacky? Because we said that we weren't gonna do an epic quest episode." And then everyone laughs.
They did sell out a ton. I got this God of War Rick and Morty ad, and then they have like the Wendy's ads.
The Wendy's ads are funny though.
Yeah, but
Beck, you were going to say something about
yeah, it's very off topic now. But I was just talking about how like kind of The Simpsons is like not being able to end. I watched like I think in total 16 hours of a lost documentary on YouTube, which I could have been done way better stuff in that time. But it was all about like, you guys know Lost was like really popular in like the 2000s, and then it ended like terribly. It was kind of like the Game of Thrones for like old people.
I do know that.
Yeah, it was mostly because the company that was making it, AMC, this was like the first big hit they had, and the showrunner's like, okay, how many seasons do you guys want? And they're like, we'll let you end it after 10 seasons. And they're like, we can't write 10 seasons of good TV. So they were like just like throwing random stuff at the wall to try to like fill up episode times and keep people hooked. And then eventually you just got this terrible finale that was not enjoyed by anyone.
You know, the creator of that show created a really good show other than Lost. It was called The Leftovers. And it was a show about a place where, like, the Earth, like, 2% of the population just disappeared, and it talks about how, like, people
so
are
pretty
dealing
much
with that.
like The Snap.
Yeah, like The Snap, but it was before.
I like how we can talk about the Snap without the context behind it.
Yeah, everyone knows it.
I mean, it was such a big moment.
I literally, my first Marvel movie was Infinity War, so
Wow.
I was so confused, dude.
I could see.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with the MCU for new viewers is you kind of have to watch everything before.
Sorry, you gotta watch. You gotta
understand
watch
it.
all 1,000,000 hours of this TV show.
Yeah, it's just like you just cannot. It's just hard to understand it. But honestly, I want to talk about the reason I think people do not like the new like MCU stuff is because if you think about it, this new thing is setting up like the next saga of the MCU. And nobody really liked the I don't think anybody could. I don't think the majority of people could say that whatever number one was their favorite thing, like with their favorite part. So, and I think this thing is kind of like the number one for the next saga, where it's just introducing everything.
Yeah, that's probably true because I've never heard anyone say, "Hey, Thor 1." Okay, no, my mom liked that movie. I've never heard anyone say that the Hulk was their favorite movie or the first Iron Man, but I've definitely heard people say like, I like Guardians of the Galaxy or what else came out in Phase 2?
Ant-Man.
Oh yeah, Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd. He's so awesome.
Age of
Yeah,
Ultron?
but the first one wasn't that good.
Age of Ultron, that one was also a good movie.
Was it?
Age of Ultron.
I
was
watched
dope.
it.
Phase 2
My
had
friend
not
likes
the
Age
best.
of Ultron is simply because some of the characters have really like good hair.
Phase 2 had Winter Soldier. That's a good movie.
Yeah, I watched Age of Ultron in clips on YouTube, so I didn't really get the full viewing experience.
But nobody's gonna say Captain America the First. That's my favorite movie.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's the best MCU movie, but it's definitely not a bad MCU movie.
I do think one problem with the MCU now is that not only do you have to watch all 20 movies in season 3 to be able to figure out what's happening in random ass movie season 4, but you also have to watch all of these TV shows that are only exclusive to Disney Plus. So now if you want to know what's happening, you have to watch all these other shows within this bigger show.
Okay, dude. I watched Endgame, and then I had seen every movie before that. So I was getting into the hype for Phase 4. I watched WandaVision. I thought it was good. And then I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and my hype died instantly.
Yeah.
To the
Falcon and Winter
ground.
Soldier was definitely one of the lacking.
I didn't watch any other Marvel movies, basically, when they came out after that.
I would say my hype died after Loki.
Yeah. Honestly, the way I rank the series, the shows for me goes, I think I would say Moon Knight,
Moon Knight was
Loki, WandaVision, and then like kind of like everything
Yeah.
else.
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk was. I mean,
I
it wasn't
think people
horrible. People hated it. I
overhated
think
it,
people
yeah.
hate it more than it
Yeah.
I
actually
stopped
is.
watching Marvel stuff at whenever Falcon Winter Soldier, that was the last show I watched. And the only movie I've seen from Phase 4 is Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think same for me.
Yeah, but I think I might see the new Wakanda
Yeah, that one's gonna be
movie,
pop.
like Black Panther movie next
I'm gonna
week.
start watching all of the Phase 4 stuff because they just announced the new Ant-Man movie, and Paul Rudd is my husband, so I gotta figure out what's going on before I can watch that movie.
Yeah.
Did you see the film theory?
Oh, dude, I
Already?
hate film theory.
Yeah, they made like a predicting film
Oh,
theory
good
for
for
it.
Matt Pat. Love Matt Pat. Wish him the best.
We have to kind of cut it now since we're going on like near 40 minutes.
Oh, wow, we gone over.
Nicola, would you like to give a movie recommendation or a TV show?
All right, I think a great movie. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it. Is The Unbearable Weight of Tremendous Talent. People don't like it, but I honestly think it's a good movie. So I think you should watch it and have your own opinion on it.
Okay, guys, remember, always use Celsius. Thanks for listening.